So this is going to be a quick video discussing the way we paint Alpha Legion, the established standard way with lots of glazes versus the new way with the contrast paint. So what we have here is on the left-hand side, right over here, we have 3 units that we've done originally. And this was done the painstakingly long way. It was done with basically a base of lead belcher, followed by a shade of Newland oil, followed by a highlight of Runefang steel, and then that gave us our undercoat of metal. And then what we ended up doing is alternating glazes of Guiliman blue and then Waywatcher green. So all of those together gave us this here unit. So as you can see, it's got tinges of blue, it's got tinges of green. If you look around the backpack here, you can definitely see where there's some green tinges coming up the side. It's definitely a little bit of a lingering green here, and most of that is from the Waywatcher green glaze. The new models are done way simpler. What they do, or what we did, is we just did a complete base coat of Runefang steel, and then we followed that up with a watered down coat of Akhelian green, and that got the color that you see in front of you here. So just put those there, put that here, and the only difference between them is the slight green shade that's there. This one has a bit more green to it. This one is definitely a little bit more turquoise and shiny and blue. Now, we could have taken the time to glaze Waywatcher green over this, but the neat thing is this is a 2-coat process here, whereas this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 coat and a shade. The problem with the setup is that each of those coats need to dry because they are recurrent glazes, and so that process tends to take a long time. It's not very difficult, but it does take a long time. So effectively what we're looking at is that the squad on the right, while not quite as green as we would like it to be, is definitely much simpler, which is kind of the story with the contrast paint to begin with. Another very important thing to deal with is that as we're tracing and doing the edges, as you can see right here on this shoulder pad, we've got a little bit of metal silver highlight that went onto the shoulder pad. Sort of right there, right above the shoulder there. To fix a spot like that, we would glaze it with Guiliman blue, and then it would look a little bit blue, and then we'd probably touch it with Waywatcher green, and then we'd need to leave both of those dry and see how it fared out. That's quite an extensive process every time you slip when you're doing your overcoats and your trim and your highlights. With this model, every time we slipped, you literally just took a touch of that, put it over it, and it's done, and you're good to go. It's considerably easier to fix mistakes with the contrast paint versus the recurrent system here. There's a much larger penalty for making mistakes the old way. So in the end, when it comes to working with the Alpha Legion groups, while this is not exactly perfect, it is much simpler and much faster. And when you're looking at Alpha Legion with all of the trim, all of the gear in the front, all of the detail, because as Chaos has it, you've got lots of flared up spikes and trim all over the place. It is much faster and easier to do a squad of 12 Alpha Legion with Akhelian green than it is to do it the recurrent Waywatcher green, Guiliman blue glaze system. Now I'll keep working at it, and I'll keep refining my system, and I may water down the contrast paint with a little bit of the glaze instead of with straight up water, and that may give it a little bit more of a green tinge. We'll see as we go. When I come up with something new that I like better, I'll definitely do another video on here for painting. But for now, I really do feel like the contrast paint is definitely a huge advantage, provided you manage to figure out exactly how to water it down properly. Because if it comes on too strong, as you can see on these shoulder pads here, it's definitely blocked in. Or this shoulder pad here, it's definitely darker than anything we have on here. Look at those legs, and look at that shoulder pad there. This is definitely a nice lighter shade, but these guys are very, very faster and easier to paint. In the end, I'm pretty happy with both ways, and as you can see, when they're standing next to each other, they do blend in quite nicely, and you can almost not tell that they were painted in different times. I'm going to keep doing both systems depending on which units I'm doing and how important they are, but for generic infantry troops, where I've got to do 12 of them at once or 10 of them at once as a squad, or if I've got to do, Havocs or anything along those lines, that contrast paint is very, very tempting. But if I'm doing a HQ unit or something I'm going to spend a lot of time on, I still think I'm going to go back to the Glaze and the Waywatcher green system, just because I can better control the exact colors, and the HQ units tend to draw more attention. With the character rules, they also tend to stay on the board longer, minus any snipers. So anyway, this was just a quick video to show you exactly what both systems look like in the end. Just so you can get a good idea of the color and how it all looks. I've got it in a bit of a light box here, so it's very, very lit up, so you can really see any detail that are there. Anyway, I'll leave it up to you to decide which way you like to do it. I'll put a link to both painting styles in the comment section on the bottom of the video. Then you can just kind of watch both and decide what you like. But I wanted to put them side by side and just sort of point out how easier it is to do the squad on the right, as well as how easier it is to fix any mistakes on the squad on the right versus that on the left, which is much more detailed. Thank you for watching the video. If you found it helpful at all, please feel free to leave a comment. If you've got a different system that comes out a little bit better or different from what I've got here, please feel free to leave it in the comments as well. I'm happy to try it. I am looking forward to trying the Waywatcher green glaze mixed with this contrast paint. I think that's going to make a difference. I tend to avoid mixing paints because I kind of like to be Games Workshop true. And I want to be able to have easy instructions to follow, that you just grab X, then use Y, as opposed to 60% of X plus 40% of Y, or 2 drops of X to 1 drop of Y, because that tends to add some variability that I'm not a big fan of. But in any case, if you like this video and you're happy with it, please feel free to leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel. I do have lots more of painting to do. I've got a bit more Alpha Legion units to do, some of them bigger than others. And then we have some other Chaos Space Marine type stuff that we're going to do soon. Then we got some Kit Bash stuff that we're going to work on. In any case, I hope this video was somewhat helpful, and we will see you again the next time we do a painting video.